Dance, I want a garden, I want a cat.
All they needed was each other.
We should call ourselves Lightning and Thunder, a Neil Diamond experience.
This Christmas, based on a true story.
You've ever had a shot, pal, this is it.
Hugh Jackman, Kate Hudson.
It's good.
So good.
Song Sung Blue, rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Only in theaters this Thursday.
Brandon Stokely here from my friends at Roller Auction. Do you have items you're looking to sell? Since 1976, Roller Auction has been conducting commercial and industrial auctions for Colorado government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, small business owners, secured creditors, individuals, and more. They have a large marketplace to showcase your assets, so don't wait. Visit rollerauction.com for a free consultation and turn those items into some cold, hard cash. Again, go visit them at rollerauction.com. That's rollerauction.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Last minute gifting? Head to your local Verizon store where giving and saving go hand in hand. Find great deals on phones, tablets, watches, and more. Everything you need to finish your holiday list. Visit your local Verizon store today.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver.
You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
It is Denver Sports Tonight. I'm Dante Gomez, sitting with me, Mike Rice. How you doing, Mike?
I am well, Dante. Man, it is a Monday and so much to get to, as always.
I know. First reaction is a Reaction Monday here in the great state of Colorado, Denver, Colorado. First Reaction Monday in a very long time, reacting to a Broncos loss. Snaps their 11-game win streak, unbeaten home streak as well for the season. Losing pretty handily, 34-20. It felt closer during certain moments of the game. Felt like maybe the Broncos had, one last push in them in that last, 5-7 minutes there. Couldn't quite make anything happen after the field goal. So kind of went out with their tails tucked between their feet there a little bit. So what was your biggest takeaway from the game and the Broncos and just falling short there?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is there's blame for everybody. You want to blame the offense, you can blame the offense. Bo wasn't sharp. I don't think they ran the ball enough. I don't think they ran the ball nearly enough. Defensively, I think we saw the breakdowns. We saw the fact that Jacksonville was able to throw the ball downfield. They were good enough running the ball, not great. The average per carry wasn't great, but they showed it enough, I thought, and Lawrence just had a terrific game. And then coaching, special teams. I mean, take your pick, and you could find breakdowns. They didn't play well. They got hit. They never recovered, and now they have to regroup. But the biggest takeaway was there was plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah, pretty even-sided. It wasn't the defense letting everybody down. The offense went out and scored a bunch of points, or the vice versa from what we saw for a big portion of the year where the defense was playing outstanding and the offense was kind of letting the team down. Even through some wins there, the offense still had some blame to go, especially earlier on in the year. But it felt like they'd gotten things going as of lately. Didn't quite translate to this game. My biggest thing was how good Trevor Lawrence looked. I mean, he's been on a tear in general, and that whole Jaguars offense has been on a tear since their bye week and trading for Jacoby Myers. You go back to the last 4 weeks for Lawrence in that offense, 4-0. Lawrence has 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, so he's just on the top of his game. And to me, everyone was saying, well, yeah, but he hasn't played a defense like Denver yet. He hasn't seen the pressure that he's going to see from this Denver Broncos defense, and that didn't really translate. The Broncos defense looked pretty pedestrian for the most part out there. There was definitely some pressures on Lawrence, but Lawrence found a way to make the plays when he needed to, even if it was getting the ball out late. The third down numbers to me really stick out. Broncos were 5 for 14 on third down. Jags 8 for 15, and that's just too high of a conversion rate. Added to the Broncos too, they were 1 for 3 on those fourth downs as well. So just every big moment, it felt like it went the Jaguars' way. What do you think led to Trevor Lawrence looking so good against what we thought was, one of the better, if not the best defense in the NFL?
Yeah, and not only did he look good, but this was a 17-17 game. Broncos seemed to have the momentum after RJ's 38-yard touchdown run early in the third. And then from that point on, it was touchdown, field goal for the Jaguars, and the Broncos, to say the least, were chasing. And unlike other times when they were chasing, they never really made a push. When Bo threw the interception with about 9, maybe 8 minutes to go, and the Broncos were down by 2 scores, it was like, okay, I don't think it's going to happen tonight. But as far as what led to Lawrence, I mean, number one, he's got a ton of confidence. And I said before the game, I want to see him do it against a defense like Denver's, against a team like Denver's on the road, and he did. I tip my cap. I salute him. He played great. He played absolutely fantastic, 23 of 36 for 3 touchdowns. I think part of it is that the Broncos didn't tackle well. I think part of it is Lawrence was hot and playing with confidence. And I think part of it is, their receivers made plays. Every big play that the Jaguars needed to make, they made it. A lot of people are going to point to scheme and stuff. In this case, I just kind of tip my cap to the Jaguars. I think they played better. I think they wanted it more. I think Liam Cohen made it more, and that's to his credit. We'll get into that a little bit. But I liked what they did. And in sort of the who's gonna be a better passer in that game, I thought Trevor Lawrence was.
Yeah,
and he outdueled Bo Nix in that respect.
Yes, certainly looked better than Nix yesterday. If you're looking at it, just through a microscope into that game. You mentioned the missed tackles. Riley Moss was obviously a big part of that. A lot of people he's been kind of a controversial figure here in Denver this season and into last season. You get some people on the bandwagon of he's one of the best cornerback 2s in the NFL, and then you have some people on the opposite side of, hey, maybe it's time to bench him. Maybe he shouldn't even be playing on this defense, letting him down like the way he has with the penalties or, the missed tackles that we saw in yesterday's game. Where are you at on Riley Moss right now?
Where I'm at on Riley Moss is when you get targeted this much, what do you get targeted double-digit times? Surtain got targeted, once or twice all game? When that happens, I don't care who you have on the other side, unless you have Pat Surtain 2.0 or 3.0, that cornerback is going to be in the crosshairs. That cornerback is going to fail more often than not or fail in big times. And I get it. That's part of the deal when you're playing opposite PS2. But they didn't throw at Surtain. They threw at Riley Moss. And you know what? If you were the head coach of the Jaguars or the offensive coordinator, you would have done the same thing, as would I. You're going to test the weaker link in the chain. Patrick Surtain is not the weak link in the chain. He's the hub of the wheel defensively for the Broncos. Everything revolves around what he does and how Vance wants to use him. So do I like the fact that Riley's going through growing pains? I don't. But does he need to go through them? He does. And he did yesterday. And he's been a pretty good tackler. He hasn't whiffed on that many. And he wasn't the only one who whiffed. He wasn't also the only one. On offense, there was more than 1 or 2 guys that dropped some passes as well. So, look, I think Riley Moss is the next best corner that the Broncos have. And if you put Chris Abrams-Drain out there regularly, if you wanted to put Jahdae Barron out there regularly, if you wanted to put Jaquan out there regularly, they'd be picked on as much as Riley Moss is being picked on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think whoever you put out there is going to have similar issues of they're just not Patrick Surtain. And that's kind of what you're getting at there, where when you have a guy who is the reigning defensive player of the year, plays at the elite level that he does, it's easy that teams aren't going to go at him. It's just what common strategy would tell you. Common sense would tell you, hey, let's not throw at that guy. Let's go after the weaker link that is Riley Moss in this situation. But I still think he brings enough to this team that he should be starting. And I think he's going to make some big plays down the stretch here. And, the Broncos are going to need some big plays because they have kind of lost all their breathing room that they had built up during their 11-game win streak. And then lastly on the defense, do you kind of chalk this up to a one-game deal, or we've kind of seen the last 4 games from the Broncos here, allowing, 34 to the Jags, 26 to the Packers, 17 to the Raiders, 26 to the Commanders, averages about 26 points per game allowed over their last 4 here since the bye week. Do you think there's something, a sign there, or a trend there, I guess is a better word for it? Or do you think it's just, hey, they've faced 2 good quarterbacks in a row with Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence?
Well, they have done that, and I would expect the numbers to be a little bit higher against the Packers and the Jaguars. But at the same time, the Commanders had really good success offensively with Mariota in that game. And a lot of people are saying the Raiders put up 17. That doesn't, come on. That was the fluke field goal thing at the end, and Broncos dominated that game. I'm not going to say that the defense let down against the Raiders. They were in no danger of losing that game. But the Washington game was a little bit troubling for sure. And then the last 2 weeks, it was a little bit expected for me, because I don't know how realistic it is to go into a game against a playoff caliber team. And again, the Jaguars are pushing for not only a division title, but they're pushing for the top seed in the AFC. They're not in the driver's seat by any stretch, but they've got a shot, and they've got something of a clear path. They're going to need some help. The Packers at the time were sort of, they're bouncing back and forth between 1-7 with the Bears. So they clearly came in with aspirations and were one of the top teams in the NFC. I don't think you can just discount that. I can't just say, well, the Broncos need to allow 13 points to those teams because that's just what the Broncos defense is. Those teams are really good offensively. Jordan Love's a really good quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a really good quarterback and playing like he wants to elevate himself into that. So is that a pass? No, because I think the Broncos clearly broke down. They clearly need to tighten up in some areas, which I think they can tighten up. And now seemingly they're going to have to overcome some health issues too, which I think Brandon Jones' loss, I said it after the game last night, I think that was bigger than I thought it was going to be heading into that game.
Yeah, the absence of Jones, I think, was definitely underrated going into this game, but I think we all saw the results of what can happen when he's not out there. And last thing with the Broncos defense, too, I feel like they were drawing comparisons a lot to the Super Bowl 50 defense. I think it feels like we can kind of put that to bed. And you mentioned how, you're going up against Jordan Love, who's playing really good football. Trevor Lawrence, who's playing really good football. The playoffs are full of quarterbacks that are playing good football. That's why they're in the playoffs. And you look at that 2015 run that this Broncos defense had, going up against Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. I'm forgetting the other name. Or was it just the 2 games? Cam Newton, MVP Cam Newton season as well. Newton. If you want to throw that in there. Yeah. So you're going to face good quarterbacks, and you got to be able to step up when the moment is there. And I thought the broadcast, I'd never heard this term, but I really liked the term that the broadcast was using during the game yesterday, the 4-point plays, which is basically the other offense is in the red zone. Are they going to get 7 points, or are they going to get 3 points? And the Jaguars were able to get 7 on a lot of those trips and those big moments, starting out the game 4 for 4 in the red zone, finishing the game 4 for 5. So very good red zone efficiency. And those are just the kind of plays that the bend don't break defense philosophy. Those are the kind of plays that you're going to have to come up bigger on when it comes to playing elite level quarterbacks in the playoffs.
4 for 5, yes, but that 5th trip was the field goal, which put them up 3 possessions. So it wasn't a touchdown, which you always want to get, obviously, but it really changed the game at that point, because when you're down 3 possessions in the second half, you got some work to do for sure. But Sean said it exactly right. all of the key metrics that the Broncos had to win, they came up short in. You mentioned third downs. That was a disaster on both ends, both for the Broncos offense and for the Broncos defense, uncharacteristically so for the defense. Red zone efficiency, masterful by the Jags, uncharacteristically bad for the Broncos D. Time of possession, the Jaguars controlled it with 33-plus minutes. And again, I mean that's just that leads to total plays, which Jaguars had a little bit of an edge, but they had some big strikes too. The 63-yard pass completion, which set up a touchdown, was the turning point. I mean, Jaguars players talked about that after the game. No, and the turnovers, another metric, obviously, that we always look to before a game, and that went the Jaguars' way. And when you are going up against a good team, I don't care what field you're playing on, yours or somebody else's or a neutral field, it is hard to overcome all of that. And the Broncos couldn't overcome all of that. They're not the kind of team. There aren't many teams in the NFL that can overcome all of that. So I give the Jaguars credit. I love the fact that this will force the Broncos to refocus. Didn't want to see them lose. I wish they hadn't lost. But I think they will use this to their benefit here down the stretch, these final 2 games of the regular season and into the playoffs. You feel the same?
I do. I think this will be a reset week for them. And I want to get into that in a little bit. But one of the things you were mentioning there about how all the key metrics kind of went the Jaguars game for the most part in this game. And I think the penalties are a part of that too. Denver racks up 6 penalties for 61 yards compared to the Jaguars 2 for 20. And I feel like I've seen it a lot on Twitter or the text line of Broncos country complaining about the officiating throughout the game. I didn't have a problem with the way the game was called. I didn't think it was the greatest game ever called by the referees, but the roughing the passer call on Malcolm Roach, that just is roughing the passer. You can't land with your body weight on the quarterback. The late hit on Trevor Lawrence from PJ Locke, that was a late hit. Trevor Lawrence had stopped on the play. Other players had stopped on the play, and you hit him a couple seconds after that whistle. Just very unnecessary. And I get that it was loud, but that's no excuse to be able to commit a penalty. So I didn't have an issue with the penalties, and the Broncos have been heavily penalized throughout the year. So it's not a one-off game. It's nothing new. I think that's something that is going to be important for them to clean up going forward here.
Yeah, we talked about it with Broncos country after the game last night, Dante. I don't think the officials cost the Broncos the game. I don't think it was a well-officiated game. I just don't. I thought the Barron PI in the end zone was sketchy at best, iffy at best. And it was kind of like the Riley DPI against the Packers, iffy at best, if not just a downright bad call. But the Broncos didn't deserve the benefit of the doubt when I look at not only the course of the game, but especially the second half. And that's what surprised me the most, is that the Broncos came out and on 3 of the Jaguars' first 4 possessions, the Broncos defense had their way and were doing a very good job controlling tempo, controlling field position from the standpoint of not allowing sustained drives. And the Jaguars had the 1 touchdown drive in their first 4 series. And then in the second half, it all flipped, really late second quarter and into the second half. And once it was 17-all, the Jaguars were clearly the better team. And it wasn't even close to me at that point.
Yeah, they look like the hungrier team, and that's what I wanted to get into next year. It's kind of gone viral on Twitter, and everyone's talking about the Sean Payton mentioning the market size of the Jaguars. Liam Cohen kind of returning favor, takes a little shot back at Sean Payton in his post-game press conference, which I was a fan of. I actually thought that was a well-deserved thing that he can, kind of throw back in Sean's face. I get that probably wasn't Sean's intention necessarily, was to take a shot there, but I think it's fair to perceive that as a shot, talking about their market size. That's just something you don't really see out of NFL coaches. No one really mentions market size when they talk about this. So I liked what Liam Cohen kind of did, throwing it back and being able to rally his team around that. Did you have any feelings? Was that fair, foul on Liam Cohen's part of kind of, bringing that back up and using it to his team's advantage?
From Cohen's standpoint, it was absolutely brilliant. I don't think Sean meant it as bulletin board material. I don't think he was taking a shot at the Jaguars at all. And yet Cohen was looking for any possible as Sean called it today, a rallying cry, any point that he could bring up of disrespect. I mean, that's what good coaches do. They find, not only from an X's and O's standpoint, Dante, putting their players in the best positions to maximize their chances to win, but also doing that off the field with stuff. Was it out of bounds? Absolutely not. Do I think Sean meant it as a slight? Absolutely not. And I give Liam Cohen a lot of credit. Sean gave him credit today when he talked about it, when he was asked about that. And I think Cohen had the edge there, but I don't think Sean, and Sean means things at times. We all know that. He'll get in his barbs, he'll get in his pot shots. More often than not, they are shots. I didn't happen to think that was an intended shot, but Cohen turned it into one, and good for him, and it paid off.
Yeah, I didn't think it was originally a shot. We have more comments today with an interaction he had with the Denver Post's Luka Evans. I want to play that here as well. I actually think he took a shot at the end of this one because he kind of reiterates the small market at the end of this quote here about like, hey, I was in the small market too for years. Just kind of reinforcing like, hey, Jacksonville, New Orleans, you guys are both small markets. But yeah, we can go ahead and listen to that here.
Well, you asked me if I saw it. You heard it. You were there. What'd you think?
I'm asking you about.
No, you were there for the press conference. Wednesday's press conference.
Yours
look,
on.
Yeah, my press conference, and it was very complimentary. And those guys are playing outstanding football, and so that topic came up strictly because, hey, not enough of the country has seen how good these guys are playing. So, but you were there for the press conference. So what'd you think?
I mean, to me,
credit. Well, the point is, though, listen, that was a good job by Liam. He's looking for a rallying cry, but obviously, if you're listening to the press conference, the intentions was strictly, hey, quietly, these guys are sitting here right near the top of the AFC. They're ready to win their division, and look, I spent 16 years in a small market, so it was just a way for a coach to take it and use it to his advantage. But you were there for the press conference.
Oh, I love a feisty Sean, and that's the version we're gonna get after a loss of, from the Broncos there. So I like him, defending his stance on it, and it makes me think that, maybe it wasn't initially supposed to be a shot from him, but I like that he showed respect towards Cohen too, of like, hey, he was able to use it as a rallying cry for his team, and credit to Cohen for doing that.
How though? I want to get a few more thoughts from you on your point of, because Sean mentioned, hey, I coached in a small market too for a while. How is that doubling down on something that might not have been meant as a shot to begin with?
Well, to me, it was doubling down because he's kind of re-mentioning that Jacksonville's a small market.
But they are.
But why do you need to mention the market size of the opponent you're playing?
But
no other coach ever mentions that, and Sean needs to do it twice in 2 weeks.
Well, this would be my interpretation, and I'm not trying to be a Sean apologist. I just, in this case, because he does, he absolutely says things. I mean, go back to the Nathaniel Hackett comments. Go back to the whole, all of them, and the Russell Wilson stuff too. But if he meant it in a way that was pointing out the fact that had they been in a bigger market, if Jacksonville were in a bigger market or were a bigger market, more people would be realizing how good this team is. Sean was just using that in reference. Hey, it's like the same when I was coaching in New Orleans. More people would have realized it. Again, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though he doesn't deserve it based on past performance. I just don't think that he meant it as a shot. And there are many, many things that he does mean as a shot. I don't happen to think that was one. Nor do I think he was doubling down.
I kind of felt like he was doubling down there. I don't know. I just feel like the NFL particularly is the sport that market size doesn't matter to that sport. It really doesn't. I mean, you could see it could be a Chiefs versus Green Bay Super Bowl, and the NFL would love that. And guess what? Kansas City and Green Bay are probably some of those smaller towns when it comes to NFL cities here. So to me, the market size doesn't necessarily correlate to how important you are, how respected you are.
But that's why I'll give Cohen credit for making it an issue for his players, but his players didn't realize that, or they didn't think enough because they're looking for any possible edge. But we all know in the NFL exactly what you just said, Dante, that there are marquee matchups based on tradition of organizations and teams, based on recent success, past history, all of those things. I mean, there are a lot of cities that have NFL teams that would be considered medium to smaller markets. I think Denver's a smaller market, not the same as Jacksonville. Denver, in terms of broadcast markets, is like 17th or 18th, and Jacksonville is like low 40s. So it is a difference, but that's why Cohen's argument doesn't hold up at all to me. He gets credit. I think it was brilliant the way he played it up, and as Zach put earlier, kind of watered it to life, made a mountain out of a molehill, out of an innocent comment, in a way that I think Sean was trying to point out the fact that, look, more people would realize how good this Jacksonville team is if this were the New York Jaguars. That's the way I heard it and saw it, even today.
Yeah, no, and I think you can kind of read into it whatever you want to see from it. So I don't think we'll ever have a final answer to it, but I do like that Sean's getting a little feisty in his press conferences. And on the other side, or real quick before we get to the other side, we have a text here from the 1658 talking about how the hit on Trevor Lawrence, there's no way you could have heard it. It wasn't intentional. It's not the referee's job to know the intent. It's if you break the rules, you break the rules. If you have a player out there that's deaf and he's constantly getting late hits, it's not the player's fault. Or I'm sorry, it's not the referee's fault. It's the player's fault in that situation. So I don't have any. I don't feel bad for PJ Locke for having the late hit. He hit him late, and that's what the result of a penalty like that is. So, but we're going to move on, and we are going to go into the next segment. And I want to know from you, Mike, if this loss can be good for the Broncos. Obviously it tightened up the standings there, but can it be good for the Broncos in the long run? There's a history of that with this Broncos organization. A couple Super Bowls they've won with some late December losses, and we will get into that next.
The Jaguars came to town and roughed up the Broncos at Empower Field. Is a late season wake-up call what Denver needs to get ready for the playoffs. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays from Done Right Home Improvements. Putting off that home makeover till after the holidays? Well, good, because book your project now for install after and save 16% or get a great financing deal. drhi.com.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At Common Spirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at Common Spirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates as high as 90%. Which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. That's RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, a Promenic restorative health practice.
You know that feeling when you catch a glimpse in the mirror and think, hey, I look 10 years younger. That's what happens when you stop dieting and start doing Soda weight loss.
I tried point counting, calorie counting, shots, and nothing has worked until Soda weight loss.
Soda weight loss gives you a personal nutritionist you can text anytime.
Everybody's great here. Everybody's encouraging. There were some times where I felt down and they brought me back up. If you stick with this program, you will lose weight and you will get to your goal weight.
When you sign up for Soda weight loss, your partner joins for free.
If you're ready to feel stronger, healthier, and yes, look and feel 10 years younger, this is your moment. No meds, no gimmicks, just real results with real support.
Remember, sign up now and your partner joins for free. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Just once a year, Colorado's largest gathering for anglers, hunters, and RVers. Buy the latest gear. Discover the best destination. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 8th through 11th at the Colorado Convention Center in Denver.
As the year winds down, Groove Toyota is helping you gear up for the road ahead. And right now, Groove Toyota has stocked over 35 used vehicles under $10,000. Great picks, great value, and perfect for Colorado drivers who want more without overspending. And with Toyotathon in full swing, it's the easiest time of the year to upgrade your lineup with a pre-owned Toyota or another solid used option before the year closes out. Finish the year strong with Groove Toyota.
On Broadway in Inglewood or online at GrooveToyota.com. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Back here on Denver Sports Tonight, recapping once in a very long time Broncos loss, coming off a 34-20 loss here at Empower Field at Mile High. And my question for you going into that break, Mike, and it is the same question I have now. Can that be good for the Broncos? We heard Sean Payton in his post-game press conference mention, what was it? Can't spit it out. You have to swallow it. And to me, that just means you really have to take in what just happened. And I think that's good for a team like this that's won 11 in a row. I think this can refocus a team. But what do you think? You think this will be ultimately good for the team?
Yes. I don't think there's any question it'll be good. I think when I listened to the players and to Sean after the game last night, I heard we were not very good. They were the better team. We've got to tighten up. We have to make our adjustments. We have to get better and learn from this. Those were the kind of things I was hearing. That's been a bit of a hallmark for the Broncos, even though you're right, Dante, they haven't lost many games. It's only their 3rd loss of the year. They've still, and Sean has still driven the point home of getting better, playing better football, making sure things are buttoned up, and it fell apart in virtually every area yesterday against the better team, the Jaguars. I think it will absolutely refocus the Broncos. I think it will, in a sense, rededicate them. In other words, they found out up close, in case they were wondering, that you got to play well in order to beat good teams here down the stretch. And I know Kansas City's not a very good team, but I think we're going to see a focused Broncos group. I think we're going to see them execute much more crisply on both sides of the ball. And let's face it, if they don't, and if they play with their food and kind of mess around, then I start to wonder, okay, is this really a team that's poised to make a deep playoff run?
Yeah, and not a lot of time for them to regroup. Quick turnaround, short week, Thursday night game, Christmas night, prime time against the Chiefs here. Backup quarterback, third-string quarterback most likely for the Chiefs there. So should be a little bit of a get-right game. But, typically when you think of an NFL team with an 11-game win streak and you lose one, it snaps that streak, you kind of think, all right, you can take a little deep breath here. But not in the Broncos' case. They do have to probably win out here the last 2 games. Chargers have also been red hot. 8 out of their last 10 have been wins for them. Only a game and a half back in the division. And they have, a game head-to-head, Week 18. So it's one of those weird situations where the Chargers technically control their own destiny, because if the Chargers win out, they will be probably the 1 seed or the 2 seed. I guess the Patriots could still get in there, but they'll be the AFC West division winner, and that could really put this Broncos team behind the 8 ball, going from 1 seed hosting 2 playoff games, then you go to the Super Bowl, to hey, maybe you're the 5 seed now, traveling to Pittsburgh in the first round. So a lot that can still go awry here down the last 2 weeks.
Both the Broncos and the Chargers control what happens to them, which is a little bit different. That doesn't always happen, especially this late in the season. You're right. If the Chargers beat the Texans and then beat the Broncos, they're going to win the AFC West. If the Broncos get a win over Kansas City and then beat the Chargers, they're going to win the AFC West, and like you said, they're going to be the top seed. The one thing, though, I mean, the Houston Texans are scrapping, and that Chargers-Texans game, let's face it, you'd much rather be the Broncos going to play a depleted Kansas City team at the most important position on the field than you would be the Chargers, who have to take on the Texans, who are also battling and clinging to the final spot with a 10-5 record. And that one will be on Saturday, and it will be in L.A., but the way the Texans play defense, that's a legit group. We all know that. They are more than capable of going to L.A. and getting that win.
Yeah, Texans absolutely a legitimate opponent there. Could make some noise in the playoffs. They're kind of that under-the-radar team that people are picking that, could win a game or two in the AFC playoffs. Chargers currently 1.5-point favorites in that game. So if you're the Broncos, I think you have to go into their own Thursday night game assuming the Chargers are going to win that game. And if they happen to not, if the Texans happen to upset them and help this Denver Broncos team, then in Week 18 you can kind of take your foot off the gas as far as the division goes. Maybe still fighting for that 1 seed with the Patriots as they get a big win last night on Sunday Night Football over the Ravens. So even if you're not really worried about the division going into Week 18 against the Chargers, still worried about that 1 seed with the Patriots.
Right. The only way the Broncos can clinch it all is if the Chargers lose this week, the Broncos beat the Chiefs, the Chargers lose to the Texans at home, very possible. But the Patriots are playing the Jets. That one's in Foxborough. Patriots aren't losing that. If the Jets somehow miraculously decide they actually want to play and not get to Cancun, a week or so early, yeah, if the Jets pull off the miracle and the Broncos win, then the Broncos can sew up the number 1 seed as well.
Yes.
I wouldn't anticipate that. And you know what? Let's make the Chargers game one for the top seed in the final week of the season. Why not? Because every game after that is going to have higher stakes. So maybe that's what it'll take. After a loss in which they didn't play well and they're forced to sort of swallow it, as Sean Payton said, or else suffer worse consequences, go take care. Don't just beat the Chiefs. Look good doing it. And I don't want to say embarrass them. I wouldn't mind if they did, but just go look good and handle your business, and then do the same against the Chargers in the final week in Week 17 here.
Yeah, a little bit of a long week for the Broncos between the Thursday game and the following Sunday game, Week 18 against the Chargers there. So you can get a little bit of rest there. So am I hearing you right? You want Week 18 to be for the division?
Well, I let's put it this way. Do I want? No. I'd love to see them sew up the number 1 seed this weekend. But you know what? If that's what it's going to be, then let the playoffs start a week early. It wouldn't be a do-or-die situation, obviously, but it would be important in terms of the number 1 seed, and Sean's not going to rest anyone if the number 1 seed is still in doubt.
Yeah, and so going into this last week, and that's why I thought this Jaguars game was so important. I feel like a lot of people were overlooking that game and the opponent that is Jacksonville. You need to win 2 out of your last 3 if we're including that Jacksonville game. Obviously, Jacksonville game doesn't go their way, and now you really have to probably win 2 of their last 2 here to secure everything that you wanted to secure, and we kind of assumed Broncos were going to secure a week or 2 ago. How do you see this thing playing out for the Broncos? Do you think we see the best version of them? Oh my gosh, Mike, did you see this spider?
I do. We got a little visitor here in the studio.
It came out of nowhere. Spider-Man just came flying in. Sorry.
He did.
We'll break here.
I'm keeping an eye on him.
All right.
I'm not going to get bit. I'm not going to be, Tobey Maguire.
You're not going to be the next Spider-Man?
I don't think so.
Sorry, that was incredibly distracting. Right in between us, just a spider flew down from the ceiling to probably exactly eye level for me and Mike here.
Well, he's in Stink's chair.
Oh, is he?
Is that Stink's chair or Stink's?
No, that's Stink's chair right here.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe I better handle business for Stink in the morning.
I think we can do that in the break.
I think so.
Before we go to the break, how do you see it playing out here? Do we see the Broncos play their best football in their final 2 games and get that 1 seed?
I see them playing very well this week, yes, and beating the Chiefs. I'm still thinking about the Texans and Chargers, and I'm not ready to hand that one to L.A. quite yet. I think there's a very good chance that the Broncos could have the AFC West sewn up, but I don't think they're going to have the AFC's top seed sewn up, so they're going to need to beat the Chargers here, and the Chargers would love nothing more than to spoil the Broncos' plans to be the number 1 seed. That will be a barn burner of a game regardless of what's at stake.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Should be a good one. And we will have one last break here. We'll come back. The Nuggets played over the weekend. The Avs played over the weekend. Nuggets back in action soon. Same with the Avs. And we will break it all down for you next.
Trevor Lawrence and the Red Hot Jaguars diced up the Broncos at home. Is Denver's defense starting to slip late in the season? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help them.
I think it helps that when you answer the phone, when people call 303 Law 4040, it makes things, I know calling a lawyer can be scary, but I don't know, your soothing voice just makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I just want to help. That's all. And I know how to do that.
I love the holidays. I always like to wish our listeners happy holidays. Would you like to do so as well?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And I hope you never need us, but just in case, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
Imagine almost every jewelry legend all under one roof.
Roberto Coin, Marco Biccigo, Ippolita, Paul Morelli, Mickey Moto, Tacori, Hearts on Fire, and dozens more, all in one store.
Imagine a diamond bar with almost every size, shape, and price range GIA diamonds.
And a Swiss watch center with all the great marks, including Longines and the legendary Tudor. I'm Dylan.
I'm Shayna Williams, inviting you to Williams Jewelers of Inglewood.
We've built one of the largest jewelry stores in America with one vision.
To be the only jeweler you will ever need.
For that perfect diamond engagement ring.
The ultimate holiday gift.
Or just because you deserve it. Williams Jewelers of Inglewood at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue.
Now, imagine their face Christmas morning.
This holiday, come to Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. Williams Jewelers, where Colorado shines.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Rights reserved.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X, outsmart the elements.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, feeling cooped up this winter? Mark Schlereth here. You know these Colorado nights can get freezing cold with your furnace running non-stop just to keep things cozy. But here's the thing. While your heating system is working overtime, it's also blowing dust, dirt, and debris through your air ducts and straight into the air you breathe. That's where Ductworks comes in. Your trusted air duct cleaning experts. Using a powerful combination of scraping and vacuuming technology, the Ductworks team clears out years of buildup, grime, and other gunk hiding in your ductwork. The results? Cleaner, fresher air, better energy efficiency, and a healthier home or office for you and your family. Don't wait until spring. Breathe easier now with top-rated service from Ductworks. Call them at 303-425-0985 or visit them online today at ductworks.com for a free residential or commercial estimate.
303-425-0985.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan, powered by Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.
Tune into Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Wednesdays at 9:15 to hear ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky break down Bo Nix and the Broncos every week during football season. Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Wrapping up your Reaction Monday, Denver Sports Tonight. Dante Gomez sitting in with Mike Rice. Thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap up here with the Nuggets and Avalanche. Avalanche Big 5 win over Minnesota in Minnesota over the Wild there. Minnesota made a pretty big, people are calling it blockbuster trade about a couple weeks ago, a month ago. And Avs seemed to go in there and take care of business. Mike, is there anything that can stop this Avs team right now?
I think that's the biggest question I have is how long can the Avs sustain this level of play? I mean, they've played 35 games, and they're 26-2-7. 26-2-7, and they have a 4-point lead over the Stars, not only in the division, not only in the conference, but also, the race for the President's Trophy is right now between those two teams. The Avs do have 2 games in hand, so they've played 2 fewer games than Dallas. But when you think of a team playing at the most elite level, how long can the Avs keep this up? And at this point, Dante, I'm knocking on wood, all the stuff with health and, 4-leaf clovers and whatever your superstition is, I'm doing that. But if they stay healthy, why can't they keep up a pace close to this? I mean, they've been this legit so far, and we're almost at the halfway mark.
Yeah, it feels like they came into this season on a mission, especially after the way they got bounced in the playoffs last year. So it just feels like they were very focused to start the year. And then, once you turn the new year, it's kind of gearing up for the playoffs and seeding and all of that. So I imagine we're going to get a very focused team, especially with the Dallas Stars right behind them. Not too much room for comfort for this team. I expect them to win the President's Trophy, be in contention to set the overall points record, in NHL history as well. I'm excited to see how they finish and excited, for them to get to the playoffs. Hopefully they're not, dragging through the end of the regular season here, and hopefully they can, keep the foot on the gas for them. Excuse me. We're going to shift over to the other resident of Ball Arena, Denver Nuggets. They fall to the Houston Rockets. Second time they've played in about a week there. Wasn't particularly close for the Nuggets. Kind of got handled there, 115-101 in Denver. And Denver's been great as of late, too. So a little bit of a shocking result there. Anything to read into? There was the Kevin Durant and Bruce Brown getting into it on the court at one point. Do you think that's just, guys being guys and playing basketball? Or do you think there's something to these two teams in a potential playoff matchup we could see?
I think both. I think there is something between these two teams. They're very evenly matched. They're close in the standings. The Rockets are 2.5 behind the Nuggets right now. Nuggets are in third with a 20-7 record. To me right now, they didn't look good in the second game. They're also playing them twice in the span of 3 games, both of them in Denver. They had the I keep wanting to say the Broncos. I've got football on my mind. The Nuggets had I think surprisingly won in Houston earlier in the year. Then they win in overtime the other night before falling. And Houston, I think, finally, they just struck me as a team that said, okay, that's enough. We're going to come out and we're going to beat you, and we're going to beat you soundly. We're going to give you your medicine at home, and then we're going to get out of town because we don't want to be here anymore. And here's the thing for the Nuggets with me, Dante, and I get your thoughts. Right now, it's about staying out of the 4-5 spot and staying opposite of the Thunder longer term when you talk about the standings for the entire season. And it's also about just kind of hanging in there until AG and Christian Brown come back. And then I think you start to ramp up from there because, AG is not going to be back in the near future. It doesn't sound like. Maybe he will be, but they were saying they weren't expecting him back before Christmas. We'll see how long it is after that. And hopefully Brown is back sooner. But, man, they're 20-7, and I'm just going to be honest, feels a little hopeless when you're chasing the Thunder, who are 25-3, and now the Spurs are sort of flexing their muscles at 21-7. That's why I sort of say just survive and stay in the top two, the second or third spot if you can, or even go down to 6 if you have to, because I think if the Nuggets ended up finishing 6th because of injuries, I don't think they will. But the 3 seed would not want to see the Nuggets in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think prolonging the matchup with the Thunder is very important, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk regardless of who you have, whether it's San Antonio or Houston, the Lakers. JJ Redick is, to me, a very good coach in the NBA, and, playoff basketball is when coaches get to do a little bit more than the regular season, obviously. So I don't know if there's a dream scenario for the Nuggets as far as a first or second round matchup, but I think you just definitely don't want it to be the Thunder until you get to the conference finals. Maybe somebody else knocks them out for you, and you don't have to do that dirty work there. So I'm excited for this Nuggets team to get to the playoffs. I'm excited for them to get healthy, what you were mentioning there with Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown coming back. Hopefully that's, around the corner here for both those guys. And we've seen some Nuggets step up over the last month or so, and I think that's going to be big come, down the stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs. But you really want to give this team time to gel with their full starters. And I know they're a veteran-heavy team. They've played a lot of games together. You still want to get that starting 5 a good ramp before the playoffs.
No question. And the Nuggets' plan when they acquired these veterans and traded the contract of Michael Porter Jr. to free up the money was so that their bench was fortified, not so that some of those guys could turn into starters. I mean, you love having that experience and you love having that talent, But you want Bruce coming off the bench. You want Hardaway providing some firepower off the bench, especially the way Jamal's handling things in the starting lineup. I mean, you want big man Jonas, and I know that he still is, fulfilling that role off the bench, but that's where you want those guys, because that was the problem last year, was the depth. And I think they're going to get back to that. We'll keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way. And from that standpoint, yeah, if AG needs to stay out till February and he needs then 2 months to ramp up for the playoffs, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just using an example. Hey, that's cool. AG knows what he needs to do to be in peak form when it matters most, and that's for the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. AG knows what's best for his body, and he's been in this league a lot, a long time. So I trust him to get back when he's fully ready. And if anything, I don't want him to rush back. I don't want it to be, the version of what we saw in the playoffs last year, where he's re-aggravating an injury during, Game 6 of the conference semifinals. So I'm excited for it. If I had to give you one right now between the Nuggets and Avs, which team are you more high on?
Yeah, I mean, the Avs. The way they're playing, I don't see a letdown. And
I'm gonna on top of that real quick. Are the Avs the highest you've been on a Denver team in a decade, maybe longer?
Yeah, I mean,
this version of them.
It's going to take something for a team to knock that team off if the Avs stay healthy. Man, you get any kind of goaltending in the playoffs, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Certainly looking forward to that. Great time to be a Denver sports fan. I appreciate everyone out there listening. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Want to give a quick shout out to Pat Bryant, released from the hospital, diagnosed with a concussion. Hopefully he's on a path to a speedy recovery. Dangerous hit there at the end of that game. So he is in all of our best wishes, and hopefully yours as well. Have a great week of Christmas, Denver, and we will be back with Denver Sports Tonight tomorrow.
After 11 games, the Broncos' win streak finally came to an end against the Jaguars, suffering their first loss since late September. With just 2 games left in the regular season, will Denver hold on to the lead in the AFC West? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 1734623. License